It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout Shortcast. And this is where we sum up the podcast that we just recorded with the lady next to me, Leah DeMarest, who is with Flourishing Engagements out of Ames. And you're originally from Newton, right, Leah?
I am. Yep.
Okay. What year did you graduate?
2001.
And your maiden name was?
Versteg.
Okay. So this is the week of Thanksgiving. And so we want to talk about gratitude.
Yeah.
And you post on Facebook about gratitude all the time.
Yeah.
What are some steps people can take to be grateful in their lives? Because that's very important.
Yeah. So you can do a gratitude journal. So what are you grateful for? In a journal, you can tell people thank you whenever you can, telling people how much you appreciate them, and giving back and volunteering.
All right. That's great. That's very important. And we talked a little bit about this in the podcast too, but it's your feeling, and many people's feelings now, it's getting stronger, that mental health is as important as physical health. And why is that?
Yeah. Well, our brain is an organ just like any other organ in the body, and we need to take care of that just as much as anything else. And our brain runs the whole body, so it's just as important than anything else.
Do you find that a lot of people that come to you, Leah, are keeping things in, and when they get together with you, they'll just let it out, and is that part of your job?
Yeah, I'm really sometimes I just have vent sessions with people that they just need somebody to vent out that stress because they don't have that in their life. When we hold things in, that can cause more anxiety, more depression, that causes us to be more irritable. So they need to let it out. They need to voice it either by writing things down or telling people.
Tell us about your business. What do you do?
Yep. So my business is Flourishing Engagements. And that is mental health private practice where I work with people on their mental health issues, couples counseling, and substance abuse and addiction.
All right, great. So substance abuse and addiction is a big problem in our society, and people turn to that when they have grief or they're going through some kind of issues in their lives. Or maybe I know someone who went through that maybe it was inherited because this guy's father was also an alcoholic. What's the first step? When they first come to you, what do you do? How do you deal with that as a counselor?
Well, we talk about basically what's going on in their life, what is causing them to go to that substance. So what are the big stressors in life? What are past traumas? We just process through those things, and then talk about different coping skills for maybe depression, anxiety, grief, whatever they're going through. Because if we can figure out that underlying thing, then we can better help the addiction.
What are some coping skills for anxiety or depression?
Yep. So exercise is a big one, so mainly just taking care of our bodies, regular general health, exercise, eating right, getting hydrated, enough sleep. But then also, there's different breathing techniques, mindfulness. So what can we see, hear, smell, taste, touch to kind of distract our brain from all the racing thoughts?
All right.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of communication on Facebook, don't you?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So how do people find you on Facebook?
Yep. So if you look up Leah DeMarest Flourishing Engagements on Facebook, you'll be able to find me.
All right.
Yeah.
And you've worked in counseling for quite a while now with a bunch of different groups. Tell us about that.
Yep. So I've worked with kiddos in at-risk youth, in shelters, adoption. I've worked in addiction, brain injury, all sorts of, throughout for about the last 20 years, I've been in social services.
You've always wanted to help people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about some things that I have to be grateful for.
Yeah.
One is this podcast. I had a good friend of mine encourage me to do a podcast even before I was terminated at the radio station. Once I left the radio station, it's like, what am I going to do now? And so I'm trying to take the skills that I had in 49 years in radio and put them towards this, and being embraced by the different sponsors that I have and the people that are viewing these podcasts and listening to the podcast has been great. And I'm very thankful for my little red, Lynette Neubauer Baker. She's my sweetie. And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have a logo and I wouldn't have a website or my YouTube channel. What are you grateful for?
Definitely grateful for family. for my community and just my friends and all the support that I have.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, we talked too, and this is kind of off topic, but I lived in Ames for a couple years, and I asked her in the podcast what she liked best about Ames, and you could tell I like food. Okay, no lie here, but I enjoy the restaurants in Ames. Is that one of your favorite things?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of options, a lot more than here, but I really like the parks. I get out and run the trails and all that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And again, as we wrap up this video, how can people be more grateful on this Thanksgiving week?
Yep. A gratitude journal, telling people you're thankful for them, and giving back, volunteering.
All right, great. Our interview guest has been Leah DeMarest, originally from Newton. And you can reach her in Ames or find her on Facebook for counseling. Thank you very much for talking with me today.